All right, so what we wanted to do was come here to nature to talk about the um, the trauma of being a vegan in the world. It's something that I know we talk about all the time. Like it's something that seems at least every other day, but usually daily, that we talk about like how it is we cope with living in a world where we know all the awful things going on top of being the type of people who care and want to make it better. So, you have any thoughts?
No, it's hard. I think working keeps me busy a lot, so I don't have to think about it as much. But as soon as I start driving home, or if there's an incident at school that involves food or someone talking about something that bothers me, that's when it comes up more. So I can get through a day okay, but then as soon as I'm driving home and talking to you, it's like, and like all the frustrations come out. Or I see a Smithfield truck drive by, or I see someone's bumper sticker, or I realize people are staring at all my stickers, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the vegan again. Like at school, I'm kind of just a teacher, and people know I'm vegan, but it doesn't come up in every single interaction or conversation I have. So it's more like outside of that is when I start feeling it more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think you feel profiled almost, which, to some degree you want to be profiled as a vegan so people know we're out there and there's the strength of coming out as a vegan, which sounds weird, but like so other people feel comfortable with it. But at the same time, like you say, there's a lot of people who are driving behind you who hate you simply because they suddenly know you care. They go.
It's a weird feeling to just be me and care and have people hate me, or drive a certain way aggressively because of that. But I mean, I always put my stickers on my car and wear my vegan bag, and when I'm not working, I'll wear my vegan clothes and stuff. So like I want people to know, but I don't live in Oregon or a big city, and so I'm more times than not the only vegan I ever see. And I drive an hour to and from work every day. I'm the only car I ever see with vegan stickers. I'm the only vegan I know at my job. Most every interaction I have, I'm the only vegan there. So it's very isolating. And so I think when we start talking, we're like, oh, I know. And so we just, and then it just explodes. So it's almost like maybe we shouldn't hang out.
Well, I was thinking about that, how like to some degree it's helpful to hang out with other vegans because you feel I don't know, the similarities and the co-suffering of it all. But yeah, it almost spirals a little bit because you get to bring up all the things that bother you, and then it inspires them to talk about things that bother them, and then you just get in this cycle of bad. And so you're kind of stuck. Like I'm reading a book right now called Aftershock, like dealing with the trauma of living in a violent world. And part of what it's saying so far is you have to let things out. You can't hold them in. If you hold in the anger and the frustration, it's going to explode. But I haven't figured out quite how it's helpful yet, because it does feel a lot of the times like when you talk about the things that are bothering you, like it does spiral into this. It's almost like a constant state of depression or sadness where you're trying to cope with knowing, that 54 billion animals will die this year, knowing that you're surrounded by people who at least say they don't care when told about this, people who will, outright deny that it matters to them, and maybe it does more than they'll admit, but so how do you exist within a world where people are so willing to ignore suffering? Okay, yeah, so we're talking about dealing with, like, knowing you live in a violent world where the people around you are willing to precipitate, they're willing to rain down violence, no, to participate in all these violent actions. They know that they're causing harm to animals by making the choices they do. You explain to them what happens to a cow or to a chicken or a pig or any animal, and they're still willing to do it. And so trying to cope with knowing that the people around you are those kind of people. And I think it's easier when you know someone's trying to change, or you can sense that they're changing, but there's just like that defense mechanism that doesn't want to admit it.
Well, I think one thing that's different between you and me is that sometimes I try to, and I hope this doesn't make me a bad vegan, but just live, like in the moment, like just enjoy times with my children and
Like block it out.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that makes you a bad vegan.
Like, because I find when I think about it all the time, I just go crazy and I'm so sad and I cry and I just can't function. And so, like, in order to cope and, like, enjoy my children's childhood and enjoy our family life and enjoy things that we enjoy doing, I try to just, like, focus on that in the moment.
Yeah,
And I don't think you are able to turn off at all.
I think my problem is not turning off. Like, I think sometimes I can turn off when I'm, like, super focused on something, I mean, it's like when I'm painting, I turn off, like, the misery part.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, sometimes when we're doing stuff, it's turned off. I think the problem's more when you're like, we should go do this. My brain's, like, I'm focused on, like, all these awful things that I'm trying to, like, figure out ways to deal with. And so it's almost like if you could just throw like a hood over me and throw me in a van and drive me somewhere and then like get me in the middle of something, I could do it better maybe. But yeah, no, I think to survive being an activist and, or just being vegan, period, because I don't think you even necessarily have to be an activist to have these feelings. I think just knowing why you chose to be vegan, which, I think, just to clarify, like, there's a difference between the plant-based versus vegan. Like, someone who just eats vegan, we're not necessarily directing this to them because they don't have that same trauma. They're doing, like a choice, whereas, like, vegans who make the ethical choice not to harm animals, it's because you know what's happening. And so that, in turn, leads to it. But yeah, how do you shut it off? Because, like, we talk about it, it's like people who find out that, some awful event happened in the world or a child's dying, how do you shut that off? And so what we hope to achieve in this video series would be to try to talk about ways to cope with these emotions. And so one thing that we do is come out to nature. Right now we're in the middle of a park, which is why occasionally we pause it because people are walking by looking at us. But
I find being alone is more helpful. So, like, if we go out to nature, we want to be alone in nature because more times than not, if there's people, they're either fishing in nature or grilling food in nature or doing things that, like, make us feel awful.
Yeah, like from here I can kind of see someone I think is fishing over there.
And so then that kind of takes away the fun of being in nature. Like the time we went camping. And it became, everyone was grilling, me cooking marshmallows and fishing. And we were like, this isn't fun. And we were more miserable for getting away to nature than not. So the key for us in getting to nature is to find a place that is either a time of day when not many people are there, or some natural setting that really is more isolated. That's helpful to us.
Yeah, it's certainly not helpful to be sitting here and be like, it's natural and beautiful and that person's killing fish. Like, it dampens the enjoyment a little.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to try to do is come up with ways that we can both talk about the things that are bothering us and how they affect us, and then also offer ways to cope with it, so that hopefully, because just from being online, it seems like there's so many people out there going through the same thing. Like, people, like, we're suffering and
we're sad all the time.
Yeah, and there's nowhere in like a telephone book or I don't know, whatever the modern equivalent is, the yellowpages.com, where it says vegan therapist. So you don't even feel like a therapist will understand you, and doctors certainly don't. And so
there's no medicine for what we're experiencing.
Yeah,
so
there's no vegan cure medicine. So that's what the goal of this vegan therapy session is that we'll try to talk you through what we're going through and offer some of the things we try to do to solve it. Hopefully it'll help us find things that will help us cope, and then hopefully it'll help people out there, which would be nice, because I know it's traumatizing. So
Yep. So today, get outside by yourself with
Okay.
someone with someone who agrees with you,
yeah, where there's nobody fishing,
where nobody else is.
where there's no one stabbing fish in the mouth,
Yes. Go climb a mountain.
ideally. Yeah. So, all right.